What a challenge.
I've never done that. I have to have a and I buy my own books. I don't
That's because that's when you're.
Hey, how many books I've read this year? So far this year, 150. And last year, the whole year was 170.
See, I keep a journal of everything that I read for years now because I get a little synopsis of what it's about and my critique of it.
Oh, really?
It's really interesting to go back and sometimes go back. When did I read Exercise House? Like I was going back to my last journal.
Yeah, cool.
Welcome everyone to our House of Aging monthly meeting. It is now 2:05, and did everybody get a chance to go over the minutes? Can I entertain a motion on the minutes?
Make a motion to take a minute.
Okay, second? Second by Barbara, okay. All in favor? Okay, so vote. Any opposed? Okay, so voted. Stanley was first, Barbara.
Just a reminder, if you're making a motion or you're having a discussion, to turn your mics on and use your mic, please.
That's on.
The green light is on, so you know it's on.
It's at the top of the list.
It's on this side.
Now, your agenda says financial report, treasurer's report for June and August. That is wrong. Those were all done and approved, but you know, sometimes haste makes waste. It is the September 30, 2024 treasurer's report, which we are now discussing. The other reports were all fixed and approved and up to date, and so we are up to date. Okay, page 1 of 4 is your general fund, and there's no biggies, but please look it over if you have any questions. Now is the time. That is at the top of the general fund. There's salaries, repairs, information, energy, office supplies, and encumbered repairs. Do you have any questions on any of those items? I know Mike can answer. No, we will be happy to entertain a question if you have any.
Just to make some particular points, if you notice across the board, our percentages are about 23% on all of the items. With the exception of overtime, we're already at about 50%. We're a quarter of the way through the year, we're at about 50% of our budget for overtime. We'll probably move some of the money from on-call standby into OT. And the reason for that, folks, is because we're doing more nighttime programs. We do 2 programs a week now after kind of what has been our traditional hours, and our staff is covering that globally rather than just having one person do it. On the flip side, we have a number of items that are well below the 25%. We have repairs, energy and utilities, and office supplies. On all of those, we expect those to be backloaded, which is typically what happens. So repairs at the beginning of the year, we put our list of items that have to be fixed and repaired together, then we start the process of getting bids or quotes, hiring the contractors, and getting the work. One great example on repairs, just so you know, is that we don't have any floor finishing equipment here at the senior center. We've either borrowed it or hired contractors. Last time we had a contractor come in to do it, it was several $1,000s to do our doors, our floors. So our plan now is to do that in-house, and purchasing, to do that we'll purchase a buffer stripper machine, which will probably be a couple $1,000s. not a bad investment, as we'll bring that down to Waterford as well, so it's not something that we're just gonna be putting money in here and then losing it at the back end. So those are what those, and office supplies as well. If we are able to distribute the costs associated with office supplies among various funds. The bottom line, the totals were right where we're supposed to be, 23%. By the way, we have 100% of our uniform allowance that's always paid out in the first week in August. So the first week of the fiscal year, that's paid out entirely 100%. But otherwise, we're Johnny on the spot at 23%, quarter of the way through the year. We should have that switch on.
What's an encumbered repair versus a repair?
Encumbered repairs were repairs that happened prior to the beginning of the fiscal year, so they happened in last fiscal year. We incurred the expense but didn't pay the invoice. So that money is captured, because if we don't capture that money, it all rolls back into the general fund, and that bill would be paid in 2024 in 2025 for a 2024 repair. It's really important to do that because it more adequately reflects the cost in any particular year. If we had put it into this year, it would have been, so that 6,400 was entirely 100% the air purification filters, filtration, and installation. And we do that every year at the end of June. That's just the timing.
Will that then become an encumbered repair in the next year?
It probably will. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen in June, unless we schedule it a little bit earlier and capture all. If we're able to pay
All
the
you're
bill.
doing is matching, so that's fine.
That's it. Yep. Yep.
Okay, any other questions? If not, we will move on to the gift fund. And there was a gift of $150, which has been put into the fund. So at the moment, we have, and we have paid for the electrical, the equipment for the sound system and all, $1,500. But we still have $80,836.45 in the gift fund. And of course, $25,000, talking about encumbrances, $25,000 is encumbered for painting. But that's good.
Up to 25,000 was pledged as a match.
Yep, yep. And any question on the gift fund? Any question at all? Any question at all on the gift fund? No? Okay, then, the next page is your revolving fund. And not too many changes in that this month. Under the September 24 column, which is the third column over, you can see the few expenses that were paid out this month. Some for the driver's ed, some for food at Hannaford's, and then some gift cards. And so the total expenses out of revolving fund were only $747.90 this month, which was good. And we took in $3,936.41. That would be, oh no, we did, I'm sorry, that's year to date. Sorry, I was in the wrong column. We took in $1,446.41, right? And so any questions on the revolving fund? Very simple this month, not too many changes. Paul, you have questions?
And just from a historical perspective, that $11,000 year-to-date expenses, the two big ones were the catering for the summer outing and the installation dinner and the Woolsox game. That was in 2000. From those two, we got a ton of, we got a grant. So those are all, you'll see a reduction in the overall cost for those trips because the grant's going to reimburse us now for those. It shows the 1446 as a negative income. That negative income was because what we did as a result of the grant, we were able to refund people's money. So anybody who paid $25, $26 for the Woolsox game, we gave that money back. And it's not an expense, it's a reduction in income. So we have reflected the income in previous months. We now have to show the reduction in income, if that makes sense. I hope it does.
Paul, did you have a question?
Read your mind.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
And did you just want to know what the final balance in
Oh,
the?
the final balance, excuse me, the final balance in our revolving fund is 37,587.85. And we have 2 purchase orders outstanding. But that's in the revolving fund, 37,587.85. So any groups or things that need something, they're, should ask, our director, Mike Ellis, and if it's within reason, we're ready to buy, so.
We show those encumbrances, by the way, so that we can maintain a good idea of where our balance is on that account. So while our cash balance is $37,587, we have $3,000, for example, contracted with Hannaford's for our Thanksgiving and Christmas meal food. We'll buy 200 turkeys this year, just to put some perspective. It's a lot of turkeys.
Have you got a good price on them yet, or they haven't been able to tell you yet?
So our businesses are very supportive. I'm always so unbelievably overwhelmed by the generosity in the community. And what this particular meat vendor does for us is they hold off until the prices come down, then they put the order in at the lowest price. So last year we were buy our entire line of turkeys for 49 cents a pound. We bought 150 turkeys last year.
Well, that's what that 3,000 is headed for. That's good. Okay, no other questions. We'll move on to the grant. The FY23 state grant is gone, closed out. Yeah, was there a question, Paul?
No.
Oh. Here, the FY24 state grant is open and very active, and you can again see in the third column over September 24 the items that were paid out of the grant in September. Some of it is for the outreach coordinator and food events, and then for the instructors for the fitness and painting and maintenance of the elevator. And then we had to pay mass council dues, and no, we didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I keep moving to the wrong column. Just please look down the September 24 column. If you see any item that you would like to ask a question about, now please ask, and we will try to answer. September 24 column of expenses.
And again, a quick note, about 75% of the expenses incurred in September from the state grant were either salaries or instructor costs, vendor payments. So I think that's a pretty telling sign that we're putting most of our money directly into the facilitation programs, but for the most part, all of the additional expenses supported those. So there were supplies for crafts, there were supplies for our yoga, we bought new weights, those kinds of things. So we're doing exactly what we should be doing from the revolving fund, which is putting the vast majority of that money back into programs. In the state grant, rather.
Okay, and the balance on the FY24 state grant as of September 30 is $52,707.89. No further question, we can move on to FY25, which we haven't started to use yet. And in that, we have a balance as of September 30 of $83,565. And we haven't started to use that yet. And now, the FY25 state technology grant. There were no expenses in September, and I will let Mike speak to that grant because he knows more about it than I do.
So as you know, we are implementing a technology initiative between the Gardner Senior Center and the Templeton Senior Center. Most of the costs associated with this grant are for hardware and technology purposes. We have 20 Chromebooks, for example, we purchased. We're putting online now, just trying to work through the Google Administrator program to get those Chromebooks secured. We've already done some technology classes. We had 14 unique individuals participate in the technology classes, which was really cool, especially since we didn't really do a full court press on rolling it out. We wanted to see what it would look like. We are desperately in need of a technology instructor. We lucked out having the instructor this summer because they were on leave from school. They are now back to their full-time teaching gig and can't live off the high horse anymore. So we're desperately looking for someone who can do that work for us. But so far, we're right on task. We have also just started to do some other neat things, including purchasing some audio support stuff, which is supplements and supports the technology side, right? We have to be able to broadcast what we're doing. So interfaces between our Chromebook and Zoom, which includes audio links and video links to cameras, so we can actually capture those programs and then rebroadcast them at some later point in time. That takes some technology, and it's been kind of cool going through the process. There isn't a turnkey system out there. There isn't a cheap turnkey system out there. So we're kind of developing this on our own with the expertise from our Community College Media Department, WGET, and the crew there. So appreciative of the work that they've done.
And the balance in that grant as of September 30 is $68,542.16. And if are there any questions on that grant?
On the interns, what is the proposal on it? Where are you going to be getting interns from? A local college where they get credit, or?
Both the college and we're looking for some high school interns. So the high school interns will do maybe some lower tech assistance for our seniors, while the high school the college folks were looking to do a more advanced technology program and give them an opportunity to do some instruction. So I figure that's going to look more like a true internship or work placement rather than a job opportunity. But they all get stipends. They're not a lot. It's not big money. Nobody's going to get rich on it. But it gives them some money, some pocket money, while fulfilling their academic requirements.
And it also varies from school to school. Some extern or externships, if they get credit for it, and it may be part of their studies, their curriculum, they may not allow them to be paid. So you have to kind of go from school to school. Some schools will allow it, so it varies some.
And we luck out here in the Gardner area for our internships. I would love to do an externship. And an externship, folks, generally includes a teacher. So somebody who's already credentialed to come back and help develop the program.
Right.
And externs, we would absolutely want to stipend, but that's becoming much more difficult as well, as teachers are already, overworked. Not just from a work perspective that they're being paid for, but the work they have to do to prep for the classroom and grade papers. A lot of folks don't have that free available time to come and do a 2-hour class at the same time. If you know somebody, we'd love to bring them on. Especially somebody who's retired and has some, I think better experience or frame of reference to the senior community.
As a volunteer or?
Either we would pay stipend. Yeah, we have it in the budget to pay stipend, and our proposal was to make this sustainable. So if we can get a good response and there's a need, we'll continue this well beyond the grant funding term. Right now, we have the money through the grant to pay some small dollar stipends.
So you're looking for somebody that would oversee that operation?
Actually performing. Yeah, somebody who would be in the classroom teaching seniors how to use Chromebooks, how to navigate that stuff. I had a lot of fun doing that. So I found that to be one of the most fun jobs I had when I was at the chamber. I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Okay, any other question? Now's the time to ask. If not, I submit the September financials for your consideration.
Okay, do I have a motion on the treasury report?
I move we accept the report.
Any discussion on it? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, so voted. Very well. All right, next thing on our list is going to be the old business, updates on new business prior to the meeting September 9th.
I have no updates to the friendly designation of the Waterford Street facility. I've asked it to be tabled to next month when we do have an update.
Okay, nothing more. Under new business, director's report.
Boy, a lot to talk about in a different way. So first of all, I want to thank those of you who were able to attend and if not attend, support the recent visit by the Assistant Secretary of the Executive Office of Elder Affairs. That was a big deal, and it was the first major disappointment I've had since I've been here at the Senior Center, not being able to attend that. But you folks did a great job representing us. There was a remarkable showing from the board, as well as the community. Several city councilors, the state rep, were all here to engage the Assistant Secretary, and I heard it was a wonderful roundtable discussion. Is there anything people here want to add? What was your perspective or perception, or what you thought?
I found that she was very impressive place. We didn't get a chance to talk here around the rest of the floors, but we were downstairs. And she said that she's looking forward to coming back in the spring. And see the area, hopefully, will be in the new place. So she got a chance to see the new place at the same time. We couldn't go to Waterford because it was still in the construction and it was locked up and stuff, so we never got there.
It was the perfect storm, as both the mayor and I weren't here, and we were the ones that were going to drive that tour. So it was a little bit of a disappointment, but not really, because it gives us another opportunity to have the Assistant Secretary or Secretary here when we do the inevitable ribbon cutting. So I'm pretty excited about that. So on behalf of our staff, and certainly those that are here, for those of you who were able to come and be part of that, thank you. I'm going to continue on with some of the other important stuff I want to let you know. As we enter this the first quarter of this year, we have some significant pressures coming to bear on our staff because they have to take time. So it's our busiest 3 months, typically 4 months. October, November, December, and January are just terribly busy, but now it gets worse because we have to make sure those folks use their time or lose it, and they deserve the time. They're working hard. It's going to create some strains on coverage for our office, but on the flip side, we've been really lucky at being able to attract new volunteers. We have some younger folks who are able to assist with some of the facility stuff. Very happy and appreciative of them offering their services. So I'm hoping that we'll get through unscathed. I believe we will because of the dedication of the volunteers and the staff, but I want to make sure that you knew we may not be answering the phones quite as fast as we were as people were taking time off. And it's substantial. It's probably 50 to 60 hours for each of the staff they have to use or lose by the end of the year. And you do the math, 180 hours, that's 5 weeks of staff time we'll lose here. We have some new staff vendors that are in the senior center now. We have Paula Lajma. Paula's teaching one of our yoga classes, as Stephanie has backed off a little bit. She got a great contract at RCA to do yoga at the Recovery Center, and rightly so, well-deserved on her part. She's a great instructor and certainly understands the dynamic of PTSD and those things and how yoga helps. So we congratulate her while we lament the loss. We're able to bring Paula in, and Paula is an exceptional. So far, we've been very lucky with our instructor. So, and she seems to have that same kind of attitude and approach to things here. I'm super psyched. For 4 years, we've been working on this and have had no luck, but recently we're able to catch a Tai Chi instructor. So we had originally proposed starting that on a very small, slow basis beginning in November, but with all the holidays that are happening in November, it didn't make sense to run 2 Tai Chi classes in November. So we're going to hold off to the 1st of December and introduce that in full force. We're already starting to market and get the word out that Tai Chi is at the Gardner Senior Center beginning December 1st. Our meditation with music program with Nina and Mike Becky has been a roughly quarterly program. We are now rolling that into a year-long, 12-month, once-a-month initiative for our seniors here. It's been very well received. It's remarkably, good and therapeutic. And I love working with Nina and Mike. They're just exceptional people. So it's nice that they were able to and willing to make this a year-long program. Some of our infrastructure improvements, we talked about repairs and some of the things we have to do for a very short-term perspective. We have to do before the snow flies, I hope, is finish the scraping and painting of our ramps and stairs. This exit here that comes out of the auditorium needs to just have a quick refresh, but more importantly, there are a couple areas that are probably going to need to be fixed, repaired, welded, and we got to find the right people to do that kind of quickly, including the railing. It's not dangerous, but I'd rather get it now and correct the little bit of corrosion we have before it becomes a super problem, like the other exit has been. Opposite of that one that exits onto the parking lot, we have one that exits into the backyard. The stair treads on those are precariously rusted, and so we've closed that exit off. We still meet code. We have two means of egress on opposite ends of the building. We're fine in that regard. I would feel better if that were taken care of. And we've been putting it off a little bit, not sure when we were going to move, but I think we're going to try to get the welder from the city DPW to come down and see if he can do some of those repairs. It's not super expensive hard work, but it is work that needs to be done to make those stairs safe. We have a little bit of work to do on the roof upstairs, again, before the snow flies. Berman's been up and patched it. We're going to give it a final patch and hopefully be able to avoid some of the leaks we've had as the snow melts. It raises the roof a little, and then the water catches and leaks. So as long as we have it pitched down into the roof drain, we're in good shape. And then, of course, I talked about the floors. We'd like to get these floors finished, through the winter. If we don't, then the wear and tear during the winter months will be much more arduous on them. They'll really look bad. It'll be much more difficult to repair or fix in the spring when we're trying to, say, sell or reuse the building. We're also doing some upgrades on some of our security and infrastructure. We have a couple cameras that are down on our security system. They're not able to reset. We're relatively sure they're gone, so we've just made some small dollar purchases for new camera equipment to also round out our full capacity on this system. We can go to 18 cameras. We've only been using 15, and now we're going down to 14. So we'll be able to add those cameras and get a little bit more coverage on the building. We have some expected increases in our meal costs here, but not huge. So we figure it's going to be another $1,000, $2,000 in meal costs. But we've seen utilization up dramatically. We've gone from anywhere from 1 to 3 at any given meal to 15, 16 people on some of our bigger ones. But we're still pushing that. And the idea of the meals isn't only for folks that need some assistance in nutritional support, but it also addresses the issue of isolation and loneliness, right? It connects us to other people, gives us an opportunity to socialize, and food is a great way to bring people together. So in your travels, and folks that are listening, please help us get the word out that we do congregate meals here on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays every week. Home cooked, prepared in our kitchen. They're not pre-prepped meals. We're not buying them from a vendor and bringing them in and just heating them up. You can smell the odoriferous, flavorful creations by Amy, our master chef. Some programs coming up, some cool programs. This Friday, we're going to Cathedral of the Heights. I think we have 16 vets that are joining us on that trip. On November 6th, we have a special Veterans Day program. We're doing it in advance of Veterans Day. Our Veterans Day program is a little different than others as we individually recognize every veteran that's in attendance and branches in which they serve. We try to do a little bit of musical or theatrical performances, so we might read a poem or things like that. And we have a retired colonel coming in as our speaker from the area. So that's kind of interesting and neat. We're starting a ukulele group, so that's going to be kind of exciting to see how that goes. If you've been wanting to try your hand at playing the ukulele, again, because of the impetus and support of Nina and her crew, we're hoping to get that going at the beginning of the year. We're trying to get a drum circle going. Drum circles are very therapeutic, and not only from a physical perspective, giving folks a little bit more motor skills in their hands and arms, it's also therapeutic from a mental health perspective. So we're working hard on getting that. Our biggest challenge right now in the drum circle is where the heck do we store the drums? We we're putting yoga balls on a 28-gallon tub that amplifies the sound, but you can just imagine how much room a large 36-inch, 40-inch yoga ball takes. We just don't know where to put them right now, so that's the only reason why the drum circle hasn't started. We have a chainmail presentation class coming up. Somebody offered to come in and work with our vets on that particular presentation. So we're going to show how to make the headdresses and chest pieces that the knights used to wear, just in case somebody wants to joust in downtown Gardner. I understand it might be a big problem. Last month, we were super excited to announce the start and first program of our Memory Cafe, dedicated to those with dementia or caregivers of those with dementia, here at the Gardner Senior Center, led by Allison Shalakaz, a certified dementia coach. On October 21st and November 18th, we have concerts, the Cormier, Dennis Cormier on October 21st, and Kelly School of Music on November 18th. Our Heart to Home presentation on October 25th. And then come the holiday programs. We have a Halloween party scheduled for October 30th. Our Halloween dance on October 28th at night. That's 6 to 7:30-ish with food. Our Decorate a Pumpkin contest. Last year we had 12 entries. We imagine we'll get at least that this year, but it doesn't have to be just painted or carved. It can be any craft creation you want on a pumpkin. Our Thanksgiving meals will be held on Thanksgiving Day at the Elks. Last year we did about 240 drive-throughs, 120 folks ate in the dining room. We served our volunteers and provided care packages for police, fire, and EMS. We did about 350 meals last year. We are well on target to do that again. We cooked 25 25-pound turkeys for Thanksgiving and 25 25-pound turkeys for Christmas, and that meat was gone. We'll up our turkey count this year again, just to make sure. I think if people get a meal, they should feel satisfied that it's a good meal, and it will be. For those two programs, Thanksgiving, well, let's talk about Thanksgiving that day. If you're able and free and willing to come and give a couple hours. We had a cadre, a wonderful group of volunteers last year, and it seemed like you had too much until we really needed the volunteers. So there was a lot of standing around, but then all of a sudden there was a rush of work. Outside alone, we have 2 stations. We bring 2 cars up. Remember, we did 230, 240 vehicles. So we had people work in traffic, and having one person on the road is dangerous. We want to have 4 people on the road, just so that people are paying attention. We can stop cars as our runners are going out and aren't getting hit, bumped, caught in between. It's very safe because of what the volunteers do, but it's volunteer intensive. Always looking for help. Similarly, on Christmas, we'll be doing the Christmas drive-through on the 23rd, Monday the 23rd. We will close the senior center offices early that day. There'll be no afternoon programs on the 23rd as we do the entire drive-through meal for Christmas. We used to do on Christmas Eve. Didn't get as many people. Now we do it the day before, and we get a ton of people, which is great. The setup outside, again, is going to be volunteer intensive. It's going to go from the beginning of the parking lot right to the back of the parking lot with giveaways. Plus, we have a whole crew inside preparing the meals. Meals, by the way, food that's provided by local resources. One of which is sitting at this table, Chrissy Livingston, hey, regular comments, have their world-renowned stuffing that they provide. for 350 people. Now imagine one entity having to do all this food. Williams provides the squash. Gardner Ale House does the salads for us. Hold on, I gotta think about that. Oh, Alliance Health provides cranberry sauce and rolls.
So the high school did the.
High school does them, yeah, finicky, it's not finicky fork. Darn it, why do I always do this? Fresh Mix is the vendor up there. They'll be doing the mashed potatoes. So a lot of vendors, each doing the food for 350 people. To put this in perspective, the Thanksgiving meals we start to cook. I say we. I do nothing in that regard. The Elks volunteers start cooking Monday afternoon. So they cook Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the Thanksgiving meals Thursday morning. Kind of cool stuff. Our holiday party is December 9th. Il Forno will be catering that party for us. We'll have 3 different selections. It is a ticketed event. Our holiday sing-along is December 16th, being led by the Bros musicians, but we always, last year we had 7 additional musicians show up with guitars, banjos, ukuleles, tambourines, rumbas, and swoops. So that was a lot of fun. You had about 70 people at that event. Our decorated snowman contest, we talked about decorated pumpkin. Well, we have decorated snowman, and the snowman can be any creation that you want to make, except, ladies and gentlemen, please don't use real snow. We won't be able to judge it. It'll just really be create a puddle of water, and that won't work. And then I think a very last, very important message for you all to know is this is open enrollment. Open enrollment starts October 15th, goes through December 7th. It's a big deal because it's the one chance every year people get to change their Medicare plans. Advantage plans also have their own open enrollment from January to March, but from beginning of October through mid-December, we will serve several hundred people in our Medicare counseling. We now have counselors here Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, all through open enrollment. So if somebody's looking to get change or wants to simply have their Medicare options reviewed, give us a call and get an appointment. If somebody is on Medicare, if you're on Medicare and sitting around the table, I highly recommend you come in and look at it. In 2025, Medicare is ushering in a ton of changes. In addition to Medicare changes, with changes to donut hole costs and max costs for your pharmaceuticals, you're going to see changes in rates from the insurance companies to make up for the loss that they perceive to be taking on the elimination of the donut hole. So what's happening as a result, we're seeing pretty significant increases in the premiums for the supplemental and advantage plans. I would come in and just have a discussion. It doesn't mean you have to do anything, and it doesn't cost a dime. This is all free, confidential counseling. They'll look at your plans, they'll make recommendations. At the end of the day, the only one who can change it is you. So consumers out there, if you're watching, please let us know. But in addition, this month, we're doing a program, Medicare 101, we just did in October. On October 18th, I'm sorry, in September, October 18th, we have the Blue Cross Plans program, talking about all the different options that Blue Cross offers. October 22nd, we have Mass Advantage. In early November, we'll have Fallon in here doing their program. So all of the big Medicare Advantage and supplement programs will have had an opportunity to be here and present and allow you to ask any questions. So just a lot going on, and we haven't even started to touch on the regular programs and the expansion of those. So really excited about what's going on. And Paul, we have a question.
All right. You're going to have Mass Advantage, Blue Cross, and Fallon.
Yep.
Right. In the newsletter, they just had Blue Cross, and they just got added Mass Advantage and Fallon.
Nope, the Mass Advantage program is in the newsletter. It's actually in, it's in there. It's on the calendar. Yeah, yeah. And it has
They're
its
doing
own.
2 days. From what I understand, they're doing an October date and a November date.
Mass Advantages.
I call
You
it
are correct. Yep, Mass Advantage is also doing a November day.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Cool. Yes, I'm going to preface this next part with some discussions on the director's report. If the business of the council during executive committee is complete and is passed, then you do have to eventually release that information. It has to become public, any of the discussions you had. So the chair is going to ask for your opinion as to whether or not that business is complete, but I want to make sure that you understand, if you feel like there's still something out there and want to continue the executive function and review what was reviewed last month in executive function, you can do that. If not, the chair is probably going to ask for you to say, all right, that business is concluded, at which point next month the minutes from that executive session will become public. Any questions on that? I figured I'd give you the lowdown and explain it. But executive session isn't always in perpetuity, secret. Stuff can be redacted, and there are very specific criteria. So once you vote to do it, I'll look over the minutes to see if anything needs to be redacted. But I don't think it will be. Yeah.
Okay. We had done a survey. We did a survey back in the middle of summer, and there was 5 of us on the committee. Okay. And we got together, we made a question, again,
Evaluation form?
We did an evaluation form, there was like about 12, 20 questions on it, and then comment section. We were very pleased with all the comments we got from the people who we went over the surveys throughout the city of Gardner, which was very nice. So at the end of last month's meeting, we compiled everything back together and discussed what was going on. And I believe we pretty much like what we have, but I don't know if we want to go one more meeting before we release it or whatever. But I just want to know what people's thinking of the report.
I think the other comment is the results of that, that series of evaluations was brought to the group in executive session last, if I'm not mistaken.
Last month, yes. So people in favor of releasing what we have done?
Is there anything more you want to do in that regard?
I have a question. Should the minutes be handed out to those that were in attendance at that meeting to see if they all agree with them?
No. No, we can't. So that's a great question, Kathy. It's an exceptional question. And one would think, geez, that makes sense to do that. But the answer is no. Because if we take kind of ourselves outside of executive function, that would then suggest that there was a deliberation that was done that wasn't a public deliberation. So everything we do has to be deliberated as a group. We can't have, side meetings and sidebars and rally for votes. And that's part of the public disclosure law, is that everything we do is transparent, and anything we discuss is discussed in public. Does that make sense? So the answer is,
It takes a while.
yeah, we can't really deliberate. I don't think you can go into executive session for the purpose of reviewing the minutes to make sure they're okay. I don't think you can do that.
Paul, you were part of the committee, you just walked out. Are you okay with what we've done?
Yeah.
Okay, because I wasn't asking about going into another executive session. It's just I have the minutes from the meeting that we had. So nobody else that was at that meeting, I was just thinking of handing the minutes that I had done to the people that were at the meeting to see if they agree, not necessarily a whole nother meeting.
So they'll do that as part of the deliberation of the minutes at the meeting. So we'll send it out in advance like we do the others. You'll have a chance to peruse it, and then at that meeting, if people feel like it doesn't adequately reflect the sentiments of the meeting, then they can vote. You have the authority as a group to vote to not approve the minutes or approve the minutes as corrected. And you can make the corrections in the meeting. Just like our regular minutes, if there was something that was remarkably incorrect, you can say, geez, these look good, except you want to amend it in this regard, you can do that, that's all. So great question. From a process perspective, it gets a little weird, but it's not hard. No.
Okay, so This one for approval? Yep. Okay. Does everybody approve of what that could happen?
In releasing the, coming out of executive session, and releasing that? Okay.
Okay. All right. Then, let's see, any discussions? Anybody have any questions? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All right. Any opposed? Okay, so voted. We're releasing that in the future.
Any other opens? Any opens?
Yeah, I have one something to say. Something that you just brought up when you were talking about the people coming in with Medicare and all that, and something has come across my mind, somebody brought it up. Can we have, sometime in the future, do we want to wait till we get the water straight, have like an open house so people can come and see some of the group that we do, because some people probably don't know. My experience today is I came in this morning, a little after 11 for Zumba class, and we had a couple of people that were in the meeting, in the conference room, and came out and heard the music playing from the people doing line dancing, and it ran a little overtime, so they saw that, and they thought it was fun that we were having there. And then I said, yeah, I'm running a bit late, I'm looking forward to doing the Zumba class on another third. Really? We gotta come back here. So she told her husband, she said, we're gonna have to come back and check this place out. So I kind of thought about it. Is there a way we can do like an open house and not have people probably check in, but just come in and take a look and see what we do, if it's possible, or what do you want to wait to get the new location?
I certainly would be, in favor of advertising an open house day. And one of the things that always brings people is food, so advertise a little bit of food and come and have some free pizzas on us and see what's going on. I think that would be great. We do that on a regular basis, and we have folks every single week. We get a couple new people that come in for the first time to the senior center. We give them the tour at the moment. So what they see at the moment might be line dancing. What they don't see is the quilting or the writers group or the book club, right? So that is always a little bit of a dilemma. Like, how do you really paint the picture of all that goes on here? But yeah, we could even do a week of just stomp in and get a chance to win a gift certificate. Which, by the way, I did want to comment on that, and I forgot, in the finance report from Terry, you saw gift card purchases. And that's what we use them for. We buy gift cards in increments of between $5 and $25. $5 we give out for like random drawings. Sometimes we give gift cards to bingo or cribbage or pitch as ways to incent their folks, just as a special prize in that particular thing. But it's not gift cards that are gratuitously used by, to gain favor with folks. We give them directly to our seniors. They benefit from that. So we could throw that in as a drawing, a cool drawing or something like that. It'd be interesting to see. One of the things, Ron, in group that I'm struggling with, and it's why we started doing nighttime programs, is that if you look at the age cohort of seniors in Gardner, we serve people 50 years of age and older. The vast majority of our seniors are well into their 60s and early 70s. And you say, well, geez, why is that? Well, I'm 51 years old. No, I'm a little more than that. I'm working, and I would imagine most of my peers who are in their 50s are working, and early 60s are working. And they can't, and into their 70s are working, and they can't necessarily just cut out in the middle of their workday to come play pool or join a cribbage game. Which is why we're trying to look at how do we open the center and make some of these opportunities here available to people who have traditional kind of workforce demands. And we're still wrestling with that. And the wrestling that we're doing is balancing being open and offering programs to the cost of staff. Somebody has to be here to open the facilities. By the way, there are some senior centers in our area, in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that will simply give a group a key and say, make sure you lock up on the way out. I'm too OCD. I probably would not. I have a mental health breakdown like that because I just worry too much. But we're trying to figure out a way to staff the center at night so that people have bigger opportunities.
Especially with our stairways and stuff, we're calling at night.
Right. Well, one of them would that be like hold an open house on a weekend so that we can reach that segment. Also, my next thought was, did Gardner just have its fall festival over the weekend?
Yes.
And we didn't have a presence there.
We didn't.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just looking at ways to how to get the word out, how to brand ourselves and show people who may not even consider the senior center as an option. So, I was thinking if we have a presence at events, civic events that we have here in the town, that might be one way.
We do. We didn't have a presence at this one, but we've been out tabling almost every other community event. And it was just the timing didn't work, for a lot of reasons. But every one of those gives us a little bit of reach, gives us a little bit of exposure. So, and I think we also have to discern and be very particular about the programs that we participate in. So.
Do we have a brochure that we can
We
offer
do.
that shows the services and things, the activities?
Well, yeah, certainly we have the newsletter. It's
Yeah.
probably the best resource out there.
But I'm looking at
our organization.
like an umbrella thing.
Yep, we have a trifold, very generic, but our newsletter is by far the most robust literature we have. Yeah, because it talks kind of real time what we do and explains it in deep fashion.
I'd love to see that brochure. Just to try to-
Right on the front counter, we'll go ahead on the way up. It is indeed.
I will make an appointment to see the eye doctor.
Nice. Charlotte?
I know whenever we have the Tops Open House, it always comes back to the ages of the people that are all working. And they're like, oh, why do you have it in the morning? Nobody can come, we're all working. We don't get so many members because of the time of the day we meet.
And there's a flip side to that, because if you were to have it at 7 o'clock at night or 6 o'clock at night, you're going to lose a cohort too, right? So you're going to pick some up, you're going to lose some.
Exactly.
That doesn't necessarily mean either one is good or bad,
Right, I
but
mean,
it's a trade-off. Yeah.
Everybody that comes, at this time, but, yeah, so I, at the open houses, all of them that I've had, that was the answer to so many people, they just threw the flyer right down, so I can't come, I work, so, yeah, that was the answer to anybody. That's why most of the people there are very old, because, they can't, they're all retired, they can't come at any different time. So,
And I think at 55, you have more options for social connection and engagement than maybe you do at 75. Just by virtue of the fact that you're out and about and moving, coming home from work, you can stop at the mount. Once I'm in for the night, it's hard to get me back out.
yeah, sure.
It is. That's a fact. Yeah. But, yeah, great perspectives, and certainly that's something that we're working on, Lauren and I talked about from a visioning perspective. When we go out and talk to folks at our coffee and conversation, we're trying to get that feedback, like how do we engage more people? But the interesting thing is we're going to older communities. We're going to communities that have, high 60s, early 70s. We're not really getting the feedback from the 50-year-olds or the 55-year-olds. They're almost impossible for us to reach.
Okay. Any other discussion? Anybody have something to bring up? All right. Okay, next thing on the list will be our next scheduled meeting. Will be on November the 4th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Let's say that again, so next level will be the other way. November the 4th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon will be our next meeting. Can I get some?
No problem. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Mr. Leon.
That is Guy Fawkes Day. I'm not sure you're aware of that.
What kind of box day?
Guy Fawkes.
Yeah.
Who tried to blow up the British Parliament by putting gunpowder in the tunnels underneath Parliament. And it's celebrated in England, and children go around and ask for a penny for the old guy, so that they can put the penny on the eyelids to keep his eyes closed. He was hung, by the way.
Don't give anybody any ideas here.
So we'll have our typical feast on November 4th that goes along with.
I'll bring the pennies.
Okay, very good. All
I
right.
make a move to adjourn.
Okay, anybody second? You second? Okay.
Stan, did you second? Okay.
All right. Thank you everybody for coming today. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, okay. We'll see you all guys back in November. Have a good Halloween.
Can I?
You know, sorry,